Good morning, everyone. Some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? George Bernard Shaw. As you all know, imagination is one of the most important factor in doing research. Many Ph.D. scholars, as was pointed out earlier, they just want to do some incremental research and just close the topic. What I would suggest is that you take up a real world problem and solve it. Your PhD thesis should not be just locked up in some cupboard in some library remotely or lying in some hard disk somewhere. Your PhD thesis should be remembered for the benefit of the society. Now, for example, I know one PhD scholar earlier, long back from our institution, was recognized by Government of Tamil Nadu because she used solar energy to convert seawater into drinking water. Imagine the combination of technologies she is doing. So, the point is there are many problems which our society and our industries are facing. You need to identify those problems and solve them. Our idea is that it should not just be for publications, you should think of patents also. Unless you do some real good work, your work cannot be patented because it's already done by somebody else. You need to know how to push the boundaries, how to push the research frontiers, creation of new knowledge. Because patenting is not that easy, it takes time. But each and every one of you, I'm sure, is having a lot of ideas. You need to convert these ideas into proof of concept, make them work, and create a patent. And we are here to support you. Because, as was pointed out by VC Madam also, we are strongly encouraging you to get into patents, and then it could become a startup. We are going to fund your startup, and it could become a company. You can commercialize your patent, you can use it for your startup, or sell your patent to somebody else. So, of course, I think in our regulations we allow patent instead of paper also. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah, our VIT rules allow patent also. So, of course, once it's patented, I think even at the published stage, then you can go for publication. The same idea, you first apply for, file it, and then get it published. And then once it's published, you can publish that same idea in a journal publication also, because you need to do the patenting first before you do the publication. And the other point which I wanted to mention is about the process of PhD. We are working hard on reducing the bureaucracy involved and the time taken for various steps of PhD. We have had some detailed discussions. We are already on the job to reduce the time it takes, because I feel there are many institutions in which scholars and guides spend a lot of time on all these overhead processes rather than focusing on the real research. So that's why we are suggesting that we reduce the overheads, keep it to the minimum, and focus more on your research outcomes. There are some mediocre institutions. You know what PhD stands for? Please have a degree. But VIT is not like that. We want you to work hard, work smart, and get the degree. We want to make sure your communication skills are good, because most of you are going to be working with students later or other fellow researchers, where communication skills become important, both your written English and spoken English. So we have a course as part of your mandatory coursework which talks about, which improves your communication skills. This is our Chancellor's vision, because unless you can communicate your idea very well, half your knowledge becomes a waste, because you need to be able to talk, write. When you write a paper, and communicate, if you cannot communicate very well, then the idea gets lost. So communication skills become very important. So VIT focuses on communication skills also, because most people think, why do you need communication skills for research? But that's totally wrong. You need to become a good communicator. And talking about AI tools, how world is changing. If you give a paper to an AI tool, it will produce a summary in a second. So there are positive uses of AI tools. Use them positively rather than asking ChatGPT to write your paper, because there will be another tool to find out whether you use ChatGPT. It's going to be a cat and mouse game, like a police and a thief, right? Whenever there's one tool which you can misuse, there is another tool to find out whether you misused or not. So don't fall for all that. Use the tools wisely. And see, as everybody pointed out, there is no shortcut to success. In Tamil they say Mandirathal Mangai Viradu, which means, with just magic you cannot do everything. You need to work hard. So the important point is that you stay focused on your research and maintain a good relationship with your guide. Because we have seen too many problems where the relationship between the guide and scholar sometimes goes sour. We want you to maintain a good relationship, a professional relationship. We have given a lot of advisories to our guides also, because sometimes in some other institutions I've seen some misuse, like guides asking scholars to do their personal chores and all that. That's all complete no-no in VIT. It's a professional relationship, and it should be maintained as a good relationship. And I'm sure when you have a very good relationship with your guide, things will go a lot smoother. So completing in 3 years to less than 4 years is going to be easy. At VIT, as you noticed, we are one of the top institutions for research. You see our H index. Now it's at 100 and, what's our latest H index?
226.
226. 226 is an amazing number, because I still remember, maybe a few years ago, we were struggling to reach 100. Because how the H index works, right? It's a logarithmic scale. The more number of citations with more number of papers, curve is going up. So as you try to climb, it's becoming tougher and tougher to increase your citations, H index. And all this is possible is because of great scholars and guides. I always term the research scholars as the backbone of VIT. You should give a big round of applause to your seniors. They have been working very hard, helping their guides and doing wonderful research work, which has resulted in great publications. We at VIT help in the researchers by providing good fellowship support. I think we are one of the top institutions among the private sector to pay the top stipend every month. And with the deep tech scholarship, we are probably one of the leading institutions. So, and we are providing very good support for open access. I'm sure more details will be provided to you about the Raman Research Awards, Abdul Kalam Awards. There are so many good incentives we provide to encourage students to publish well. See, the important point is about being persistent, right? You are going to face many failures. You don't really call them as failures. These are stepping stones for success. Albert Einstein said, "It's not that I am so smart. It's just that I stay with problems longer." Right? You stay with your problems longer in order to solve that problem. So when you have persistence, I'm sure you can reach the top very soon. I would like to close my speech by a quote by Anne Landers. She said, opportunities are usually disguised as hard work. That's why most people don't recognize it. Thank you.